The Yukon River is a major watercourse of northwestern North America. The source of the river is located in British Columbia, Canada. The next portion lies in, and gives its name to, Yukon. The lower half of the river lies in the U.S. state of Alaska. The river is 3,190 kilometers long and empties into the Bering Sea at the Yukon-Kuskokwim Delta. The average flow is 6,430 m³/s. The total drainage area is 832,700 km², of which 323,800 km² is in Canada. By comparison, the total area is more than 25% larger than Texas or Alberta. The longest river in Alaska and Yukon, it was one of the principal means of transportation during the 1896–1903 Klondike Gold Rush. A portion of the river in Yukon the 30-mile section, from Lake Laberge to the Teslin River is a National Heritage River and a unit of Klondike Gold Rush International Historical Park. Paddle-wheel riverboats continued to ply the river until the 1950s, when the Klondike Highway was completed. After the purchase of Alaska by the United States in 1867, the Alaska Commercial Company acquired the assets of the Russian-American Company and constructed several posts at various locations on the Yukon River. The name Yukon, or Angstrom cubed Jihan, is a shortened version of the Gwich'in phrase Ka cubed Angstrom cubed Ga Aahan, which means whitewater river and refers to the visual effect of glacial silt in the Yukon River. The phrase was shortened by removing the consonant a and the vowels a in 1843. The Russians had been told that Yukhana was the Degzinug and Holokakuk name for the river and that the name meant Big River. Although it did serve as the name, Yukhana does not correspond to a phrase in either language that means Big River. The Deghita unregistered trademark and Holokakuk had borrowed the upriver language name and conflated its meaning with the meaning of Kikpak, the Yupa unregistered trademark name for the same river. 2 years later, Hudsona unregistered trademark S-Bay Company was told that Yukon was a Gwich'in name and phrase meaning whitewater river. The latter translation does correspond to a Gwich'in unregistered trademark and phrase that can be shortened to Yukon. The Lewis River is the former name of the upper course of the Yukon, from Arsh Lake to the confluence of the Pelly River at Fort Selkirk. The Yukon River has had a history of pollution from gold mining, military installations, dumps, wastewater, and other sources. However, the Environmental Protection Agency does not list the Yukon River among its impaired watersheds, and water quality data from the U.S. Geological Survey shows relatively good levels of turbidity, metals, and dissolved oxygen. The Yukon River Intertribal Watershed Council, a cooperative effort of 70 First Nations and tribes in Alaska and Canada, has the goal of making the river and its tributaries safe to drink from again by supplementing and scrutinizing government data. Course. The generally accepted source of the Yukon River is the Llewellyn Glacier at the southern end of Atlin Lake in British Columbia. Others suggest that the source is Lake Lindeman at the northern end of the Chilkoot Trail. Either way, Atlin Lake flows into Tagish Lake, as eventually does Lake Lindeman after flowing into Bennett Lake. Tagish Lake then flows into Marsh Lake. The Yukon River proper starts at the northern end of Marsh Lake, just south of Whitehorse. Some argue that the source of the Yukon River should really be Teslin Lake and the Teslin River, which has a larger flow when it reaches the Yukon at Oittalinkwa. The upper end of the Yukon River was originally known as the Lewis River until it was established that it actually was the Yukon. North of Whitehorse, the Yukon River widens into Lake Laberge, made famous by Robert W. Service's The Cremation of Sam McGee. Other large lakes that are part of the Yukon River system include Quazora Lake and Claan Lake. The river passes through the communities of Whitehorse, Carmacks, and Dawson City in Yukon, and crossing Alaska into Eagle, Circle, Fort Yukon, Stevens Village, Rampart, Tanana, Ruby, Galena, Nulato, Grayling, Holy Cross, Russian Mission, Marshall, Pilot Station, St. Mary's, and Mountain Village. After Mountain Village, the main Yukon Channel frays into many channels, sprawling across the delta. There are a number of communities after the head of passes, as the Channel Division is called locally, Nunam-Ika, Alak-a-Nuk, Eminak, and Kotlik. Of those delta communities, Eminak is the largest with roughly 760 people in the 2000 census. Eminak's gravel airstrip is the regional hub for flights. Hazards. Navigational obstacles on the Yukon River are the Five Finger Rapids and Rink Rapids downstream from Karmax. Bridges. Despite its length, there are only 4 vehicle-carrying bridges across the river: the Lewis Bridge, north of Marsh Lake on the Alaska Highway; the Robert Campbell Bridge, which connects the Whitehorse suburb of Riverdale to the downtown area; the Yukon River Bridge in Karmax, on the Klondike Highway; and the Yukon River Bridge, north of Fairbanks on the Dalton Highway. A car ferry crosses the river at Dawson City in the summer. It is replaced by an ice bridge over the frozen river during the winter. Plans to build a permanent bridge were announced in March 2004, although they are currently on hold because bids came in much higher than budgeted. There are also 2 pedestrian-only bridges in Whitehorse, as well as a dam across the river and a hydroelectric generating station. The construction of the dam flooded the Whitehorse Rapids, which gave the city its name, and created Schwatka Lake. The river flows into several parklands and refuges including Innoko National Wildlife Refuge, Nowitna National Wildlife Refuge, Yukon Charlie Rivers National Preserve, Yukon Delta National Wildlife Refuge, Yukon Flats National Wildlife Refuge. Geography and ecology. Some of the upper slopes of this watershed are forested by black spruce. This locale near the Sword Peninsula represents the near westernmost limit of the black spruce, Pachymariana, one of the most widespread conifers in northern North America. Fisheries. The Yukon River is home to one of the longest salmon runs in the world. Each year Chinook, coho, and chum salmon return to their terminal streams in Alaska, the Yukon Territories, and British Columbia. The Chinook have the longest journey, with an estimated 50% bound for Canada. As salmon do not eat during their spawning migration, Yukon River salmon must have great reserves of fat and energy to fuel their thousands-mile-long journey. As a result, Yukon River salmon are noted for their especially rich and oily meat. The villages along the Yukon have historically and continue to rely on salmon for their cultural, subsistence, and commercial needs. Salmon are traditionally dried, smoked, and frozen for both human and sled dog consumption. Common methods of fishing on the Yukon include set gill nets, drift nets, dip nets, and fish wheels. The preference of certain gear is largely dependent on the river's varied characteristics in different areas. Some parts of the river do not have eddies to make set nets successful, whereas in other places the tributaries are small enough to make drifting impractical. Over the last 20 years, salmon recruitment, the number of returning adults, has taken several shocks. The late 1980s, 1990s, and 2000s have been marked by radically reduced runs for various salmon species. The United States Department of Commerce issued a federal disaster declaration for the 2008 and 2009 commercial Chinook Yukon River fisheries, citing the complete closure of commercial fishing along with restrictions placed on subsistence fishing. The root cause of these poor returns remains debated, with questions about the effects of climate change on ocean food supply and disease prevalence in returning adults, the methods of fishing used on the river, and the effects of the Bering Sea pollock trawl fleet on food supply and salmon bycatch. In 2010, the Alaska Department of Fish and Game's Board of Fisheries issued the first-ever restriction for net mesh size on the Yukon, reducing it to 7.5 inches. Various organizations are involved to protect healthy salmon runs into the future. The Yukon River Drainage Fisheries Association was formed in 1990 by consensus of fishers representing the entire drainage in response to recent disaster years. Its organizational goals include giving voice to the village fishers that have traditionally managed these resources, enabling communication between fishers and fishery managers, and helping to preserve the ecological integrity of salmon runs and local cultures' traditional ecological knowledge. In March 2001, the U.S. and Canadian governments passed the Yukon River Salmon Agreement to better manage an internationally shared resource and ensure that more Canadian-originated salmon return across the border. The agreement is implemented through the Yukon River Panel, an international body of 12 members, equal parts American and Canadian, that advises managers of Yukon River fisheries concerning restoration, conservation, and coordinated management. Tribal organizations such as Association of Village Council Presidents, Council of Athabaskan Tribal Governments, and Tanana Chiefs Conference work to sustain Yukon River salmon to promote healthy people, cultures, and communities. Tributaries equals Yukon Territory equals Takini River, Big Salmon River, Little Salmon River, Nordenskjöld River, Teslin River, Pelly River, Macmillan River. Stewart River, Nadaline River, Lansing River, Hess River, Maquesson River. White River, Domjk River, Claan River, Nissling River. Beaver Creek. 60 Mile River, Indian River, Klondike River, 40 Mile River. Alaska equals, Tatonduk River, 70 Mile River, Nation River, Kandik River, Charlie River, Porcupine River. Tributaries in the Yukon, minor tributaries, Fishing Branch. Bell River, Eagle River, Rock River. Driftwood River, Old Crow River, Bluefish River. Tributaries in Alaska, Colleen River, Black River, Wood River, Bear Mountain Creek, Mountain Creek. Shandala Creek, Shinsk River, East Fork, Coness River, Eskimo Creek. Christian River, Shandala River, East Fork Shandala River, Junjik River, Wind River. Middle Fork Shandala River, North Fork Shandala River, West Fork Shandala River, Martin Creek. Birch Creek, Hadwenzek River, Beaver Creek, Hodzena River, Dall River, Ray River, Big Salt River, Hess Creek, Garnet Creek, Fish Creek. Texas Creek, Coal Creek, Tanana River, Nabasna River, Xana River, Teslin River, Goodpaster River, Delta River, Salcha River, Sheena River, Wood River, Nenana River, Tulavana River, Kantishna River. NC Creek, Tozitna River, Bluebell Creek, Dajaslawkina Creek, Banderna Creek. Blind River, Bering Creek, Nowatna River, Sulatna River. Big Creek, Beaver Creek, Glacier Creek. Melazitna River, Black Sun Creek, Little Melazitna River. Ruby Slough, Yuki River, East Fork Yuki River. Calla Creek, Kelly Creek. Galena Creek, Bishop Creek. Koyukuk River, Workyard Creek, Jisasa River, Katil River, Dulby River, Hijlia River, Newlitna River, Tom Cook Slough, Billy Hawk Creek. Cutoff Slough, Hogorza River, Clear Creek. Batsa River, Matthews Slough, Little Indian River, Calamity Creek. Pocahontas Creek. Canuti River, Discovery Creek, Alatna River, Saru Creek. South Fork Koyukuk River, Jim River. Jane Creek, John River, North Fork Koyukuk River. New Lauter River, Cotal River, Anvik River, Bonasila River, Stewahok River. Innoko River, Paymout Slough, Reindeer River. Iditarod River, Yetna River, First Chance Creek. Mud River, Dishna River, Coffee Creek, Tolstoy Creek, Madison Creek, Mastodon Creek, Hurst Creek. Taft Creek, Finland Creek, Scandinavian Creek, North Fork Innoko River, Tango Creek, West Fork North Fork Innoko River. Colorado Creek. Carco Creek, Engineer Creek, Reindeer River, Achulinguk River, Androvsky River, Kashunuk River. In media, the Yukon River features as the setting for the 2015 National Geographic Channel series Yukon River Run. See also, Alaska Salmon Fishery, List of longest rivers of Canada, List of longest rivers of the United States, List of rivers of Alaska, List of Yukon rivers, Steamboats of the Yukon River. References. External links: Canadian Council for Geographic Education page with a series of articles on the history of the Yukon River, the Yukon River Bridge at Dawson City, Yukon River Intertribal Watershed Council, Yukon River Drainage Fisheries Association, Yukon River Panel.